Look, she brings up her dad. She brings up her dad and he says, I shall call him. I'm going to call your dad and send him all the evidence and get them translated and let him decide whether you agreed to the sex marriage or not.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we're going to be looking at Mohammed Hijab and his accuser, a woman who goes by the name of Aisha, who was supposedly a woman whom he married in a misyar marriage, which is a marriage where the woman gets less rights than usual, if you can believe it. According to her, she tried to handle this privately. She went to people she knows. Apparently this included Ali Dawah, the legendary Ali Dawah, but he didn't help her. In fact, he pushed her away, and he's proud of that. Mohammed Hijab tried to brush these accusations away by simply claiming that they have no evidence. If there was evidence, there would be text messages that she would go public with, but she hasn't gone public with these text messages, hence they can't exist, hence what she's saying is false. Mohammed Hijab explicitly rejected the idea that he was ever married to this woman. There was no marriage. She is a stalker, she is obsessed with him, she's making this up, and she's not well, is how Mohammed responded to this accusation that came from this woman named Aisha. But, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a bit of a reveal, which it turns out Aisha did have text messages and has now publicly released them. So let's have a look at these text messages. Just so you know, this video I'm about to show you is from... Actually, where is this from? Yeah, it's from Apologetic Roadshow, David Wood's channel, so you can watch the full video there. I will link it in the description down below.
Oh, you see. And so I have to say, I've gone through some of these, and really looks like he's granting that there was a marriage here. So there was a misunderstanding on the terms, and it ended. You must trust in God to be able to recover. You will. Don't lose hope in the mercy of Allah. You have notes on the side there. I think those are by Behind the Veils or whoever posted this. Attempt to ensure there is no traceability of any communication. Do you see the little note at the top? So-and-so uses a default timer for disappearing messages in new chats. New messages will disappear from this chat 24 hours after they're sent, except when kept. Tap to set your own default timer. Ah, so you can manage to keep them somehow. But let's see.
So this straight away sets off red flags for me. This to me is pretty concrete evidence that whoever this person is talking to, supposedly this is Mohammed Hijab, they turned on disappearing messages in WhatsApp, which in of itself is fine. But when you combine that with a man who's accused of doing some very impious activities, shall we say, by having this super secret second wife to whom it was a misyar marriage. He wasn't going to pay for her accommodation, he wasn't going to give her a place to stay, he wasn't going to pay her bills, he wasn't going to do any of the things a normal husband would do. She's basically just going to be a side chick. In fact, I think even that's actually pretty generous as to what he was asking of her. I think it's more like someone he would just have sex with, trying to keep this family friendly, which is definitely not what Hijab was doing. And remember, he said this woman, Aisha, would not be able to show evidence because she has no text messages, because he never had this supposed marriage, this misyar marriage, with this woman. I think that's because he was hoping that these messages would be deleted, that they would be gone off WhatsApp, she would have no way of getting them back, and therefore she would have no evidence, so he can accuse her of having no evidence, and it makes it look good for him because he can produce his side of the story, but she can't produce her side of the story. But it turns out she took screenshots. So she's a very clever young woman. She took screenshots of this to make sure she would have a trace of this, since she's apparently been going to different people in the Islamic community trying to get help for, I think, about 2 years now. And it seems that she hasn't managed to find many people who would help her. And now she's going public with it and bringing this to light to bring Mohammed Hijab accountable for, in all honesty, degrading this woman in one of the worst ways you can do so. She has a kid, by the way. She's a divorced woman who has a child already. If this is true, Mohammed Hijab has brought nothing but shame to everyone in this.
She said, I don't want you to text me again, please. You have completely destroyed my life, every aspect of it, and so on. So, haha, Mohammed Hijab is talking to her, and she's saying she doesn't want to hear from him anymore. If that were reversed, that would be taken as, you see, this proves that she's a psycho stalker. Let's see. I'm looking at the notes on the side to kind of see what these messages are. Aisha defending her right to seek counsel and help from Shayuk after being manipulated, sheikhs, after being manipulated and deceived in the marriage, and he's going after her for contacting a sheikh and asking about the situation. And she says, what happened was atrocious, and the impact that it had on my health, both physically and mentally, is big. I think I should have the right to ask for fatwa or help. I still suffered in silence for many months without talking to anyone. I did not talk about you by name and details to anyone other than Muhammad. So that's the sheikh that they were talking about. I used a fake Facebook profile and asked Hamza Tortis to address the topic of the red pill many months ago. I didn't mention anything about you. So he's complaining, how dare you talk to Hamza Tortis? She's saying, I didn't mention you. I didn't mention you. And she said, I didn't share much details with Ali. I used a fake profile and didn't mention your name.
How dare you talk about...
So now she's implicating two people here. There's Hamza Tortis. I think that's how you say it. It's either Hamza... Did you pronounce the T? Hamza Tortis. That guy is implicated here as someone that she reached out for help. And supposedly she didn't even mention that it was Muhammad that she's referring to. She would just describe the scenario and just not give a name to who she's describing. She likewise did the same with Ali. I think eventually Ali did find out it was Muhammad Hijab she's referring to, and Muhammad Hijab presumably told Ali to stop talking with this woman. I think Ali actually made a video with her, which got taken down, presumably because Muhammad Hijab found out about it and thought it hits a little too close to home. So that video got destroyed pretty quick.
About me behind my back, and she's pointing out...
talk to Hamza Tortis.
Let's see. He later apologizes, saying that this was a lie in order to shake you off. So this is when he started insulting her. Some of these... I don't think these are in order. We had different expectations of the marriage, and the divorce was mutual. Wait a minute. So that's from Muhammad Hijab. We had different expectations of the marriage, and the divorce was mutual. What marriage, Hijab?
Wait a minute. What marriage?
Yeah.
Exactly. What marriage? Given what Muhammad Hijab is replying to her with, it definitely seems like A, these people know each other, B, there's some history between them, C, they're not on speaking terms, but also D, they had a relationship together that seems to have been a marriage, and they seem to have now been divorced. Everything so far is corroborating her side of the story and completely nuking the idea that Muhammad Hijab didn't even, barely knew this woman. No, it turns out he seems to be agreeing that yes, there was a marriage, and yes, they got divorced.
What marriage?
What marriage? I thought there was none. So how would you divorce if there was no marriage and she's just a stalker? And then look what he does here. He tries to, look what he does. We had different expectations of the marriage, and the divorce was mutual. I didn't find you attractive. Later on, he says that wasn't true.
Wow.
He's trying to degrade her so that she feels terrible about herself, and that she won't feel like she's worth anything. So she won't want to stand up to him because she'll think, oh, I'm just worthless. I'm just not worth it. Awful behavior. I didn't find you attractive after we were intimate. You are Mughith and I am Barira. That's the hadith about a woman. They were both slaves, and then she got freed, and then her husband was still a slave, and she didn't want to be with him anymore because she wasn't really attracted to him. And so he says, only I don't remember Mughith being this hostile.
Muhammad Hijab says a pretty heartless and filthy thing, really. He says, I don't find you attractive after we were intimate. So congratulations, Muhammad Hijab. If this is true, you've just confirmed that you were intimate, you were married. I don't care what your relationship is now with this woman. If you don't want to talk to her, you just don't talk to her. I find it so weird. It's like he's obviously not wanting this conversation, but he's refusing to just leave it. He feels like he has to have the last word, or he has to say something. It's like, bro, you can just ignore her. You know, one of the great things about technology is that it has an off switch. You can just switch it off. You don't need to reply to this woman who's obviously very upset at something you've done.
Let's see. Manipulating the conversation and gaslighting Aisha to make her believe that she agreed and wanted a hotel marriage. So we agreed you will leave the iddah to play out because you felt like a prostitute. So he knows she felt like a prostitute. She told him, I feel like a prostitute if we just got this hotel marriage. You felt like a prostitute after agreeing to the hotel discretion agreement. The lesson is be careful what you agree to. Divorce is halal, and I have given you a mahar, so I don't have anything to answer for anymore. I have nothing to answer for in treating you like a prostitute, making you feel this way.
That is exactly the term that I used in my last video, which you can totally check out. Links in the corner, if I remember to actually put the link on YouTube. Please remind me in the comments if I forget. But that's exactly the term I used to describe this. I said, look, it's kind of like you treated her like a prostitute, because in this Misya marriage, this Islamic marriage, where a man marries a woman, his first, second, third or fourth wife, doesn't give her the same kind of rights, but it's much more degrading, in all honesty. And she supposedly accepts this. If his whole purpose is just to go meet her for casual sex in a hotel, and that's it, that's all the point of this relationship is, it seems like he's made her into a prostitute. And she uses that same term because, man, like, if you just think about it, that's what it is. That's what he's doing to her. And that's incredibly low and disgusting behavior from anyone, let alone supposedly a pious Muslim. But let's be real here, we knew Muhammad Hijab wasn't pious a long time ago.
And then this is weird. Look what he says, because now he's saying that she's a complete lunatic and can't be trusted. Look what he says here. Look, you are a good woman. I actually respect you. You have many nice traits. Let me give you a gentle reminder that we are both Muslim people. We have rights over one another of respect. Please refrain from these kinds of messages of pure disrespect and accusation. I know you're hurt, but this is not the way. In
other words, please just leave me alone. I've gotten away with having sex with you with pretty much no consequences. So please just go about your life. I don't want to play this game anymore because I've won the game, I got what I wanted, and now I just want to leave.
Let me tell you something. That message, this is very common by Muhammad Hijab. He does this very commonly in an attempt to manipulate people or to intimidate people, to be patronizing. But he does this very often in hopes that he will actually intimidate the other side into or give this fake sense of mutual respect and compassion and whatever to make the other side do what he wants them to do. He actually, funnily enough, tried the very same thing to me in messages, upon which I just coldly rejected him. So he does this whole thing. Look, I actually feel like you are good and so on, and here's my advice for you. This is the kind of messaging that I've seen him message to people, including to me and others in the past.
By the way, that is a higher level manipulation tactic. I don't know if he knows what he's doing, but the sort of bare, 101 stuff is praising people when they do what you want. So rewarding people, and then you punish people when they don't do what you want. So that's the basic level stuff. But you also have a higher level, which is intermittent reinforcement. So you have positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. And then you have intermittent reinforcement, in which you will heap abuse on people. Then you'll praise them about something. You'll abuse them, and then you'll be nice all of a sudden. And that's how you actually create, over time, a form of addictive behavior. Because you don't know when the reward is coming, when you'll be treated well. And you keep trying to elicit that niceness out of the person and so on. And so you end up, so it's a longer term, higher level tactic.
I completely agree with David Wood here. I think that Muhammad Hijab is obviously very manipulative. I think he probably gets off on this kind of thing. Like, this is just how he likes to engage with people. Particularly people he thinks he can treat this way because he can ultimately get away with it, because he's got tons of scholars that will take his side no matter what, because he's so far entrenched in the Islamic community that there are very few people who are willing to call him out on his own behavior. Just worth keeping this in mind as well. I think this is authentic, and I think it's authentic for many reasons. With people that are genuinely dealing with a bad relationship, you tend to find that there was a long period where that person is trying to reconcile first. They're trying to deal with it by themselves first because they actually care about this person. And although she's like saying things about him and he's saying things about her, it's quite evident she does have feelings for him still, right? Like that's otherwise why is she engaging with these very long messages? It's because it's a sign of someone trying to work things out in their own mind because they still have these kind of feelings. He knows that and he's manipulated that to the best of his ability.
Let's see. And then look what he says here. Look, then he goes back to abuse mode. So she's saying, Ya Allah, wallahi, I was up to this point still trying to find excuses for you. Then you start charging against me with all this. And then what's he say? Do you want a hotel marriage with Muhammad Taurin? The sheikh. In other words, hey, you just looking for another hotel marriage? She's saying, hey, look at all the stuff you did to me. And then what's he bring up? Hey, you're basically a hotel prostitute. That's what you are now. And do you want me bringing this up every time you open your mouth? Tell everyone what a hotel prostitute you are? That's how he's treating her.
It's pretty sick.
Now this is just evil. Like, look at this. He's now saying, do you want people to know you're the kind of woman that has hotel marriages? Which is the very thing he was trying to convince her to do. But now he knows it's shameful, and he knows that this is something that no woman would ever really want to be engaged with. And he's using that as a form of threat. In other words, if you keep poking me, I'm going to tell people this is what you do. Again, manipulative and not honest. And remember, whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, this is what you're dealing with when you think about Muhammad Hijab. You're not dealing with someone who has a good track record of being sincere and honest and humble. You're dealing with the exact opposite. Someone who seems to show traits of narcissism, someone who has demonstrated that they're capable of manipulating people, and someone who shows that they have no problem with the concept of secret marriages, polygamous marriages, and mishra marriages. He has no problem with any of these. He's even helped get people married purely for the sake of having sex, knowing full well that the man will divorce the woman afterwards. And he's bragged about that. That's a video he's now taken down, but it was there and you can find it all over the internet. I think I even included it in my last video.
And look at this. And she says, was I a wife to you? OMG, what kind of question is this? And he says, do you want him to think you are the kind of woman who wants to have hotel marriages? Yes or no? Do you want that reputation? What's he doing? This is all a threat. This is all a threat. I'm going to give you a reputation as a prostitute. She says, I never accepted hotel marriage. He says, I have all the evidence to the contrary, more of it than you know. And she says, I don't mind, Muhammad. What's your next move? What do you want? But the truth is otherwise. Are you desperate? Muhammad, what are you doing? Well, he's threatening you. That's what he's doing. He's threatening you to keep your mouth shut and stop bringing this up. And she says, I'm shocked. He says, I'm shocked you went to another man for advice and so on, for trying to figure this stuff out. Yeah, so
I think they kind of skip down through these messages quite quickly, but just something I noticed there and made me realize, according to her testimony, Muhammad Hijab's friends, like Ali Dawah and Hamza Torsitz and so on, know about this and have known about this and have even taken steps to stop this from going public. That's interesting, right? Like, if you really think about it, because it's bold. Say Aisha is like not being truthful and just making this up. I don't think that, by the way. My personal opinion is I think she's being truthful here. It would be a weird move to claim as your witnesses the person's friends. Like, if you think about it, like, that would be something you wouldn't do, because like why would you do that? You'd claim it's someone else or something, or like someone who you have a lot of influence over, or someone that you can coerce to say what you want them to say. But no, she's saying no, it's Ali Dawah and Hamza Torsitz. These are the guys who had some say in this, at least, especially Ali Dawah. That tells me that, yeah, this is more reason why this is likely a true story. This is really something that happened, and she is genuinely trying to get help for this. And there are Muslim Dawah guys who are throwing her under the bus left, right, and center, taking this poor woman who has already had significant challenges in her life and making her life 10 times worse. Not only has she had to deal with, in my opinion, an abusive relationship emotionally from Muhammad Hijab, but she's now having to tolerate complete denial from people that she thought she could trust.
Flipping out because this is exposing him. Anyway, guys, we don't really need to go through any more of this. I'm sure there's some interesting stuff in here, but the main...
Wait.
What?
Look, say sorry. Say sorry, you're going to another man. Say sorry, arrogant woman, leave me alone. Yeah. You go further down here for a second. The fatwa, you're not allowed... Oh, here. let's stay here for a second.
What?
So, is this Islamically wrong? Yes, yes. Fatwa is not fatwa without a reason. She had no way back Islamically at the moment. You're not allowed to reveal my secrets. Look, this is
Yeah.
very, 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 very.
That's
very,
why he's
very
flipping out. Is she actually was talking to other people, and though she was trying to keep it secret, he didn't like the idea that she's actually trying to do something about this. And
So
then,
this
are you
is-
dumb? Look at that. See that? Are you dumb? When you told me you would keep it secret.
To reveal my secrets? How dare you reveal my secrets? Are you dumb?
He's complaining that she's revealing his secrets. Not gonna lie, Mohammed, it doesn't look good for you if you're complaining that this woman that supposedly you have little to nothing to do with, you're saying, please don't reveal my secrets. How dare you talk to another man about my secrets? Yeah, I have a funny feeling that Mohammed Hijab has secrets. Probably because he keeps complaining that this woman is talking about them. I think you've just dobbed yourself in there, Mohammed.
So you, oh, look, now he's blaming her. Look, you made an agreement with me. You made an agreement and you broke it. So she agreed to be a secret second wife. And then she's actually revealing something about a relationship and talking to people about it. And then you broke an agreement. She says, Muhammad, I gave you my life.
And then look what comes here.
Look at this. Whether you, and so what does he say? You have the traits of the hypocrites. Oh, shit. Okay, I shall call him and send him all the evidence. So look, she brings up her dad. She brings up her dad and he says, I shall call him. I'm going to call your dad and send him all the evidence and get them translated and let him decide whether you agreed to the sex marriage or not. When you explicitly told me. And then she freaks out. Sex marriage?
So just when you thought Mohammed Hijab could not get any worse, he actually does, because now he's threatening to involve her dad and be honest about what they were doing to her dad, who apparently doesn't speak English, so he had to translate it for him. He just spills out how he actually sees this, and he says, look, would your dad want to know that you agreed to a sex marriage with me? Doesn't call it misyar marriage, doesn't call it even muta marriage or anything like that. He calls it what he thinks it is. It's a sex marriage. And she responds by just freaking out over the fact he called it a sex marriage, because that's exactly what you would do if you thought of it differently and you thought you had a genuine relationship with someone and this was a real marriage. If you believed that, that's how you would react to someone saying, no, it's just a sex marriage. It's just a meaningless thing that I did so I could have sex with you when I wanted to. And Mohammed Hijab obviously also has another wife. This is a polygamous thing, so, and he has kids as well. So the fact that he's bringing up her dad and threatening that, I think is classic Mohammed Hijab. Let's put it that way. It's classic Mohammed Hijab. Okay, I wanted to just show that because I think it's important that people know that Aisha did have receipts. Aisha, when talking about her inappropriate relationship with Muhammad, had receipts to prove all of the things he actually said to her were not just things from her own imagination. She was just making this up. No. She was bringing them up because they're real. She took screenshots of them. She's been in private trying to resolve this. She even went to his friends to get this resolved, who actually did initially seem to try and help her, by the way. But it looks like Mohammed Hijab intervened. At least that's what it looks like to me, that he sort of realized what was going on and said, no, Aki, get rid of that video, have nothing to do with this woman. I won't feed you any more grapes if you keep doing this. And that's how he got the video taken down. And that's how he got the people she was appealing to turn against her. This, to me, is more than enough evidence to show Mohammed Hijab did what she said he did. Something else, before I end this video, because I really want this to be a quick video. If this video is over 15 minutes, let me know in the comments and tell me I did not do my job right, because this should not have taken me this long. She, and this is actually a really good Islamic point, she challenges him to a Mubara? Forgive me if I'm butchering that, I'm just trying to remember the name of the term off the top of my head. And in effect, it's to both appeal to Allah that whoever is lying should feel the curse of Allah. It's a way of validating in the Islamic tradition who is being truthful and who is being a liar by appealing to Allah. She has no problem challenging this to him, saying, yeah, absolutely, I want to do this, yeah, I want to make that kind of oath in front of Allah, in front of witnesses, that I am telling the truth. He doesn't want to do that. And so I read a comment on one of the videos that was like, look, always be suspicious of someone who makes that appeal, like when they're both Muslims. There's someone that makes that appeal and the other person's like, no, I'm good, I don't want to do it. That's a good point. And he's already admitted he knew this woman and he has had conversations with this woman, and now these things reveal that actually it was more than just that. They were married and they consummated the marriage and he divorced her. But if Mohammed Hijab, the pious scholar, so to speak, from Cambridge College, if he had no issue proving the validity of what he's saying and that she's a liar, then do the Mubara, do the curse thing. It seems like the least you could do, given that the video where you have a voice changer that hides your voice has now like 60,000 views. So even your own video shows a lot of Muslims desperately want answers. Why not do this test? Why not do this Islamic test? Call on Allah to curse whoever's lying. Why not do that? If you're a pious Muslim, you should have no problem in doing that. But I don't think you will, because reasons. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just super quick video to talk about some of the things that have come out recently. Whoever Aisha is, I genuinely hope that she finds some kind of comfort away from Muhammad Hijab. And I hope that she knows that there are other communities out there, particularly my community, the Christian community, that has no issue with giving any help or advice to get you into the best place you can be in. That's what David Wood said, an AP, the new Christian, may I add. If there's anything I can do to help Aisha, just let me know. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.